Morning, everyone. How are we all doing? Very good. Audience participation, brilliant. I'm up here to talk to you about bridging. I just put on a LinkedIn post because if anyone's seen, I'm just obsessed with putting things on LinkedIn to promote your business, and that's what we do. And it got me thinking the other day that I talked to brokers yesterday, and I talked to brokers today who say, I don't see much bridging across my desk. Well, I don't see much bridging if I'm not looking for it as well, sometimes. And it got me thinking about a game that I play with my kids, because anyone been on a car journey with the kids and they go, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And you've got to fill the time, haven't you, with a game? So we filled it with a game of spot the yellow car. Spot the yellow car and you get points and see who wins. And I'm competitive and I try and win and I spot more yellow cars. It's amazing how many yellow cars you can spot when you're looking out for them. And what I want to take you through over the next sort of 14 minutes is just how to spot bridging finance. And actually, let's relabel it, because I've never had a customer ring me up and go on a Monday morning, do you know what, Jamie, I've been dying to speak to you all weekend because I'm dying to take out bridging finance. It doesn't happen. What they do, though, is that I want to, secure a property, create more wealth, actually turn it into a property that I can secure more rental yield out of. And that's short-term finance, isn't it? If I was to say to someone, do you want a bridge? Don't like bridges, I've heard that they're expensive. But if I said, do you want short-term finance to satisfy the need of what your customer's got, then that sounds more palatable, doesn't it? So I am going to go through the A to Z of bridging, but I'm not going to take you through what an AVM is, or, I don't know, what's a zebra zoo is for bridging. Nothing like that. It's all about spotting the opportunity and the solutions in front of you. And we'll move on from there. But let's debunk some myths as we go along. Some things that brokers and customers will say to me, even my wife will say to me, she goes, I've heard that bridging only has one use, doesn't it? Only has one use. Well, I'm going to show you some of the solutions that we can do, and the other great bridging lenders out there can do as well, which will show you that it's absolutely multifaceted in its approach, so has more than one use. Bridging's too expensive. Well, I'll let you into the secret. It's not free, okay? But nothing is in life, is it? Okay? But if I could show you that if you were to try and buy, and I see so many times in past lenders that I've worked for where something's been tried to shoehorned into a buy-to-let, and it's actually not good enough, and actually you get that nil valuation back, and then you've lost time. Actually, if you could buy something, do it up, and actually then lend against it, and actually make money on it, it's a business cost. So actually, if you've looked at the expense of that and looked at the schedule of works, maybe in a refurbishment product, I beg to differ that bridging's expensive. It's a considered cost. And it's all about speed. Well, yeah, bridging should be used for speed. I heard someone the other day say, auction purchases. Is bridging right for that? It is the number one tool to get through bridging. We've gone through a state of flux. That's saying something, isn't it? And we know that some of the lenders are maybe taking longer to service. So would you want to put your buy-to-let auction purchase through potentially a lender that may take longer than 28 days? Don't think I would be confident doing that with one of my buy-to-lets at the moment. And bridging is the last resort. Well, as Caroline just said, don't think of second, yeah? Or that was the phrase I used to use, but to give it a second thought. But also then think of it not as last resort. Just put this into your armory, into your toolkit, and spot the opportunity, spot that yellow car as it goes along. So, I don't like talking about, that I do bridging or that everyone downstairs does bridging. Bridging is just the solution. It's the need-based solution. It's the transitional finance to allow you to achieve what you want to do. Either sell the property, achieve more rent, whatever your need is. But I always think of it that bridging solves a complication. So bridging solutions, auctions, I've touched upon already. We can do auctions and all the different things because of the speed for that. Marketing loans, what do I mean by that? Anybody who's worked with a property developer who secured a piece of land and then built, 4 houses on it, I tell you what that developer does always. He finds the next piece of land, or he or she does straight away, before they've even sold the last ones. Well, why don't you able to actually buy the land and actually secure it off the properties that you can sell at the right market value, not at a discounted price? Marketing loans, bridging can be used to release capital very quickly. Uninhabitable properties. Those ones that you see on Rightmove that look like they've only got one picture on them? Yeah, because they do not want to take the other pictures. They're actually the perfect properties for your developers and your investors to go and look at. That is a bridge. Uninhabitable properties is what we do on refurbishment finance. Commercial to residential conversions. Now, Going back to LinkedIn, you may have seen me bleat on at the moment. There's amazing opportunity for your property developers that I will come out, I'll speak to you, I can take you through the opportunities for your investors at the moment. And that is commercial to residential. There is not enough dwellings being made in the UK. There's a 300,000 target that the government are not hitting each year. They're probably too busy having parties, but they are not hitting them. And there's an interesting stat on that, actually, because 30 years ago, 40% of new dwellings were made by smaller developers, people that, got less than 10. Only 12% today have done that, because the Taylor Wimpey's and the other good new build sites out there, Bellways and everyone else out there, can sit on land for a considerable amount of time whilst they wait for planning. Small developers can't have that liquidity dragged to themselves and put all their money into it that way. So what's happened in the government, they've released something called permitted development changes for commercial to residential. Don't get me down the pub, I wouldn't be that interesting guy, but I can take you through some of the areas that this will help you with. You can now buy a commercial property and convert it into flat and do not need planning. There's lots of rules that come with it, and come to my stand afterwards and I can take you through some of those opportunities, but it's a really good way to present to you guys. And whether it's high demand of unique opportunity that you want to use bridging quick, or maybe it's chain collapse. How many people last year had chain collapses when regulated? Got mentioned earlier with stamp duty, want to quickly beat that deadline, even though you're going to be paying probably more than you would have done on the inflated price. So regulated bridging is a great way, and it's a great tool out there. And there's not as many bridging lenders in the regulated space as there would be in the unregulated. Case studies, because I don't want to kill you with criteria, because you'll lose childhood memories if I start just throwing out just what criteria that we got. But case studies bring these things alive. And Mr. and Mrs. Beattie are a real good example of types of customers that you'll have. Talking about shoehorning again. How many times have you tried to shoehorn a HMO into a buy-to-let lender that then goes, have you had the planning to convert it from a C3 use class to a C4? Because it's in an Article 4 area. Have you got your license yet? The chicken and egg scenario starts over, doesn't it? Now, customers like Mr. and Mrs. Beattie are doing things right. It used to be good when you had a portfolio lender, landlord, should I say, who has 100 properties in their portfolio, and it still is good. But then the PRA2 kicked in. You thought, oh my God, that's a lot of paperwork I now need to fill in on the portfolio spreadsheet that lender needs. But it's still opportunity. But now you've got something else with the EPC changes that they need to actually be doing up those properties. So sometimes those 100 properties they've now got need to actually fit a C rating in the future if it gets signed off this summer, which it will do, I believe. So that's not inside knowledge. I just think it will do from a green agenda. I think it's the right thing to do. These customers, Mr. and Mrs. Beattie, buying HMOs, they know that they're going to do up, put new windows in them, put it to make sure it gets up to a C. But they're using a bridge in an Article 4 area because they won't be able to do that under permitted developments, and the bridge was the right solution to secure that property at the right time quickly. So bridging was the solution for them. They didn't want to put it to a high street lender that was asking, or a specialist lender that was asking all those questions. And we were able to lend up to 70% on this. We can actually lend up to 75 in this example, secure it. They can then go through planning. They can actually then either convert that out to a high street lender, or specialist lender, keep on using high street, they wouldn't touch it. And then they could actually exit it back to us as Glenhawk, just to actually do the refurbishment works. Bridging is multifaceted in its use, but also can be used to help out the green agenda. So, high level, because I said I wasn't going to kill you with criteria, these are some of the areas that we're helping out brokers and customers every day with. Refurbishment, bridging. Got asked, do you do that? Yes, we do. And what are we looking at when it comes to the A to Z of bridging? We're looking at the day one value of the property, the OMV, okay, the open market value of the property. We're looking at how much works you want to do to said property. Okay, I want to spend X amount of money. We can allow you to lend all of that money in arrears, 100% of those costs in arrears on those properties. We'll then look at what the A to Z of bridging, what the G is. Gross development value, GDV. These are all the things that we're just looking at. What do they think that property is going to be worth after that? I get asked sometimes, how quick can the bridge go through? Well, if you've done the due diligence and you know actually and had looked at what the schedule of works are on the property and know what the costs are, then actually we can actually work a bridge really quickly through underwriting for yourselves. So refurbishment is a really good tool, and that doesn't have to just be for buy-to-lets. That can be for those commercial to residential refurbs you got. It could just be a commercial to commercial and a commercial refurb. There's a lot of commercial out there that needs to be repurposed as well. Regulated. Don't go into this, I'd always say when I'm looking at a regulated loan, make sure it's the right tool for them, okay? The bridging, why do they need to use a regulated bridge? But there's a lot of scenarios where they do. And you need to give best advice, and there's some very competitive bridging products out there and in the room downstairs as well. We do it with a twist. We can do things with speed, flexibility here at Glenhawk when we're looking at regulated, chain break scenarios. And if you're looking at your customer base, short-term finance for your landlords can be repeat business. They use it, they can see the benefits, and they do it again. Regulated bridging is a transactional purchase because they're not going to go, I loved using that bridge, I'm going to go move house again next month. They're generally in that house for 7 years or longer. However, it's a need-based solution. They can do it. How many of us lived in a house that we thought was big enough until we had to live in it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with homeschooling around you? Lots of us. Yeah, I did as well, so I built a home office, to do that. People are changing what they want from their properties. So people are securing a property, one of those ones on Rightmove, and actually securing against it. They're refurbing it, and that is what Glenhawk's bridge can be done for as well on regulated. Refurb that property up, put the bifolds in, whatever you want that property to look like, and then have the ability to take control and sell your residential in the background at the speed that you want as well. Really good solution. Residential, whether that's be buy-to-lets, quick purchases that you want to actually do up themselves, but I've got the funds to do it themselves, that's fine. Commercial, we'll look at most commercial for you as well at very competitive prices here at Glenhawk, but there's some really good solutions that you can do. And second charge as well. Maybe second charge is a way that you can help out with those EPCs. If you've got that 100 in the portfolio, 50 or 60, you've got a big bill coming up. But maybe you can actually, don't want to disturb the rate that you're on at the moment, but the second charge bridging can really help you do up those properties for the future to actually allow you to secure more rent in the future. Because there is definitely going to be a flow chart that happens in the future. Do you want to be able to rent out that property anymore? Well, if it's less than a C in the future, you will not be able to rent it out and you'll have £30,000 worth of fine. Thank you, do not pass go, don't collect £200. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why bridging can be seen as a solution going forward. Also, one of the great topics that's going to come up later is about complex credit and people that have got some adverse. I don't think we've seen the ramifications of what has happened through COVID at the moment. We're going to see a lot of adverse coming up. We also know that there's customers that have just got adverse in their DNA. Yeah. That just do not pay for some types of credit sometimes. We know that there's those types of customers. We also know that the COVID situation has just meant people are too stretched and maybe has delayed projects and they just have run out of money. Yeah, and they may be actually going through repossessions. Is a long-term mortgage the right solution for them? I don't know, I'm not the broker. You're the educated brokers in the room. Maybe it's actually bridging finance that can just get them out of the hole. We can secure it against an asset. This is an asset lend. People that could be keeping them away from bankruptcy, but that's another solution that it does. This is just one strain of where the multifaceted approach bridging can solve. So getting towards the end, actually, when I got into bridging, I got taught a lesson, day one bridging, and taught me it in 1 minute, and they said, it's all about the exit, Jamie. It's all about the exit. Do not put someone onto a bridge that you do not know how to get out of, because that is when it becomes expensive, okay? I also see some things as well where I pick up a lot of re-bridges, so bridges from other companies, and I hate picking up re-bridges other than the obvious that we can make money out of them, because that bridge should have been written right first time round. I picked up a refurbishment bridge the other day that was put on a 6-month term with 2 drawdowns with the exit as sale. Who the hell has written that bridge? But it's all about the exit. You reverse engineer something, and there's loads of routes that you can do. Sale of property. Do we know how long those properties are selling? Our underwriters will look at that. Can you refinance to another lender? We know who that could be through their ICR calculations or whoever it may be for the affordability test. It could be that it's a plan-in-play bridge that you refinance back to Glenhawk okay, to do the refurbishment works as well. But we will always ask what the exit is. And you can with your customers as well. So hopefully the next time you're driving in the car, you're not going to spot too many yellow cars. But through the last 15 minutes, hopefully I've shown you what some of the opportunities that Pritchard presents. Myself and Sammy Emery, my BDM, is downstairs. Come and pick up some of the materials that we've got there. Yes, you can get a book, but more importantly, what can you do to help out your customers moving forward? Thank you ever so much, and I hope you enjoy your day.